It is preseason week for the Dallas Cowboys, and tonight we have our final 53-man roster projection before the exhibition games. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. What is up, everyone, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, and catching up with you guys Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with quick-hitting videos such as this one. Maybe not so short, though, this Monday, because we are going to dive into my latest 53-man roster projection, and sometimes that takes time. However, I'll try to go quickly over each position and ask you in the comments to let me know what do you agree with, what you don't agree with, and then I'll be debating with you a little bit in the comments later tonight. So make sure you check that out. If you wish to read the article instead of watch the video, or do both, or maybe reference the article later on, you can find the link to the piece on the YouTube description if you're watching on YouTube. So thank you all for being here. Hit the like button. Let's get started, right? Obviously, we've got to start with the QBs. And man, let me tell you something. This is one of those that I definitely had to change in compared to my first two projections of the year. One was put together after the NFL draft. The other one was put together about a month before training camp, so right after minicamp was over. And now I'm looking at this from the perspective of, okay, I don't see the Cowboys just trusting Trey Lance so much that they get rid of Cooper Rush. I don't think that happens. Now, could they put together some roster creative maneuvers where they maybe send Cooper Rush to the practice squad, call him up twice, and then maybe, play around with it, sign him to the roster, blah, blah, blah? Sure, they could do that. I'm not going to try to put together those kind of moves today, though. So I've got the Cowboys carrying three QBs. So that would be Cooper Rush, Trey Lance, and obviously Dak Prescott. At this point, I just feel like Trey Lance has not shown the Cowboys enough for them to be confident moving on from a veteran that they know they can win ball games with. Now, is Cooper Rush going to be the reason they win ball games if Dak Prescott is injured or something like that? No, not really. But he can also be decent enough to not cost them the game. And maybe the Cowboys can lean on the defense to get some plays and maybe stay ahead of the schedule and maybe win like has happened before with Cooper Rush. So I've got them carrying three QBs, Dak, Cooper, and Trey. Now going to the running backs, we've got four more players. Noteworthy cut here, Deuce Vaughn, right? So I've got Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott, Royce Freeman, and then fullback Hunter Lipke, who is key, and we'll get into why in a little bit. But Rico, Zeke, I believe, are locks, right? They're going to be spearheading the running back by committee, it seems like. Royce Freeman has received a lot of praise from Mike McCarthy, and he has specifically received praise in two areas that the Cowboys head coach really, really likes, and that's pass pro and special teams. So for McCarthy to go out there and make that statement, when we know Deuce Vaughn struggled in pass pro last year, and not only that, but would have a tough time finding a bigger role on special teams that is not kick returner and kick returner only, it seems to me that Deuce is trending towards being cut. Could he turn it around in the preseason? Hopefully, he's ready to go and can play in order to have that opportunity, right? Because to me, it seems like if Deuce is going to impress you, it's going to happen on game day when he can show you that spark, when he can show you that dynamic playmaking ability compared to right now at a camp where you're like, did they not tackle him because of the practice format, or did they not tackle him because they couldn't tackle him? If Deuce is going to turn this around, I believe it's going to be on the games. Hopefully, he gets that opportunity. For now, though, he's off of my roster projection. And then I've got Hunter Lipke in there because obviously he can play fullback. The Cowboys seem to like what he brings to the table as a special teamer. But also, the Cowboys are seemingly cross-training Hunter Lipke and having him work as a tight end. More on that later. For now, though, wide receivers, no surprise here. I've got 6 of them. I don't think anyone is going to argue about CD, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, even Cavonte Turpin, and Jalen Brooks. Those, to me, are set in stone, and barring any injuries, they're going to be there. Ryan Flournoy is a little bit interesting, though, because they could IR stash him, right? They could send him to injured reserve, and the Cowboys could get, I don't know, Tyron Billy Johnson, who is having a strong camp. But then also Jalen Cropper is having a strong camp. And then David Durden could also be considered someone to be in the running, that kind of stuff. But Ryan Flournoy did return to practice on Monday, showed up in pads for the first time in training camp. And I'm going to bet on the Cowboys' 6th-round draft pick. I think he's going to turn some heads. I think he might have some highlights in the preseason. So give me Ryan Flournoy as a draft pick making the team. So there you go. This could be one of those situations, though, when they carry 5 wideouts. I wouldn't rule that out. We'll see how that goes. Now, going to the tight ends now. I'm going short at tight end, man. I am. Listen, I would love for Brevin Spanford to make this team. I would love for Peyton Hendershot to make this team. Heck, I would love it if Princeton Fant made it. But this is a numbers game, and I have a tougher time seeing the Cowboys carrying 5 wideouts versus them carrying 3 tight ends, provided Hunter Lipke is seriously helping out in that role as well. Because McCarthy mentioned, hey, you know what? Hunter Lipke, we're cross-training him with the tight ends. We have seen in camp Hunter Lipke running deep routes, like deep crossing routes, and showing off his hands as well. So if the Cowboys feel comfortable in Lipke playing that sort of role, I could see the Cowboys going into the season with only 3 tight ends and maybe calling up Spanford whenever they get a chance to do so, if they want to get that run blocking involved. But for now, though, 3 tight ends for me. Not comfortable with this decision, but I think it's the way to go if you want to make the numbers work, and that is the big challenge of the 53-man roster. Now, of course, injuries happen in the preseason, knock on wood, but some of these decisions, I always like to say, will be made by themselves, and the math might get easier. But for now, this is how I see it. Offensive line, I've got 9 of them. I've got 9 offensive linemen, and you've got Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, who could be your starters, but it sounds like Brock Hoffman, who would be another player on this list, is above Cooper Beebe in the depth chart right now. Chuma Edoga, they seem to like, man. Chuma was not on my first 2 projections, but he is now. Chuma is out there with the ones, playing left tackle pretty consistently at a camp. And sure, Tyler Guyton has missed a couple of practices back-to-back. He missed Saturday, missed Monday with an illness. Let's see how long it takes for him to be back. But the Cowboys are giving Chuma Edoga like that first team status, and they were doing that before the training camp even began. So I think they really like him. Like, I think they like him more than they do Sim Richards. And I think there's obviously a much higher chance for Chuma to start week 1 than Sim Richards. So I don't see them making that jump to the point where they're like, we're going to cut him. And some people are watching like the Micah Parsons clips from practice. And of course, Chuma is getting roasted and fans are getting concerned. I don't blame them for that, but I also think it won't be enough for the Cowboys to be like, yeah, we're not doing Chuma Edoga again. I think they will. So I've got Chuma in there, TJ Voss, who has been killing it once again, and he's one of the best backup guards that you could ask for, it seems like. And then Asim Richards, have got them carrying him on the roster, which makes for some interesting cuts right here, right? Because you've got Josh Ball and Matt Willets go out of it, which is big. Earl Bostic Jr. and Dakota Chepley, but most noteworthy to me, I had to cut 7th round rookie Nathan Thomas. I don't have anything against Nathan Thomas, but if you're going to cut one of the offensive linemen, it had to be Nathan Thomas for me. I wouldn't put Nathan Thomas above any of the 9 offensive linemen that we just talked about being in, that you can see on the screen right now. So tough cut, yes, but I've got Nathan Thomas on the outside looking in. So that would be a actual draft pick from this year being cut by the Cowboys, which would be very strong, but a very strong possibility as well based on the way that things are set up on the offensive line. So that's how it looks like for me. That's on the offensive side of things. That would be 25 players on offense. Now let's get to the defense. Let me know again in the comments, what do you agree with, what you don't agree with. Micah Parsons, I still got him as an edge, even though he's going to move around, going to play some off-ball linebacker. I am still listing him with my edge rushers. Got 5 of them. No Sam Williams, obviously, but I've got Micah, DeMarcus Lawrence, Marshawn Nealon, the Cowboys' second-round draft pick, Tyrus Wett, second-year UDFA, and veteran recently signed from the Indianapolis Colts, Chicago Bears, Alquadin Muhammad. And that is not a deep unit. I'm a little bit concerned about it. But as long as you've got Micah and D-Law playing in that position, you should be fine for the most part. Now, they are going to move around Micah. They're going to move Micah Parsons around. We'll see how that impacts them. But this is my edge rusher group, and I would be very comfortable with it. Obviously, Sam Williams is out. Shaka Toney, which is one of the free agents that they signed in the wake of Sam Williams' injury, does not make it in my projection because it's difficult to carry more than 5 of these guys. Going back to defensive tackle, though, that's where I have Viliami Fehoko. Some of you might have been worrying about Viliami. I'm not sure he's a roster lock. I don't think he is, but I've got him making it with defensive tackles. It sounds like they're using him inside a whole lot at practice. So that seems to me like the plan. Like Chauncey Golston 2.0, where they're going to take a versatile defensive lineman and make him a 3-tech. So that gives us Ozo Digisuwa, Chauncey Golston, and Viliami Fehoko as our 3 techniques, and Massey Smith and Justin Rogers, who is a 7th-round draft pick as well, as your nose tackles. Some noteworthy cuts maybe. Carl Davis particularly, right? He was one of the free agent signings to the Cowboys, and he would be out of the roster according to our projection. So no surprises there. However, watch out for Fehoko because I think he could be on the bubble, and let's see if the Cowboys pull off a move to upgrade the position. Linebacker looks interesting as hell, man. Linebacker looks fun. We talked about this a little bit more on Sunday night, but I've got 5 linebackers. No surprises. Eric Kendricks, Damon Clark, Demo, the Marvin Overshown, 3rd-round rookie Maris Leofau, and former UFL standout Willie Harvey Jr. The last one might have a tough path to the roster, but I think he's been playing a lot with the Cowboys' second team, some first-team reps here and there, but also he has that special teams potential, in my opinion. He's a driven player, right? High effort, high motor. That's going to be fun. But Kendricks, Clark, Overshown, and Leofau, not only do I see them on the roster, I see them fighting for playing time every single game. That's going to be fun. Not a lot of surprises, but this is a unit that already looks much deeper, much better than it did last year. You could have an injury, knock on wood again, but you could have an injury and your replacement wouldn't be a safety like was the case last year. So that alone feels like a major win. Going deeper right now, man, cornerback. Let's talk about the corners. I've got 5 of them. Trevon Diggs, Daron Bland, Jordan Lewis, your 3 starters, followed by rookie Kalen Carson, who has been killing it at a camp, and Eric Scott Jr. Noteworthy cut, Nashawn Wright. Man, let me tell you something, man. I go over practice clips on Twitter, on X, however you want to call it, and I see Nashawn Wright on a lot of those first-team defense reps. I see him on the field a whole lot. See him on a lot of one-on-ones against top receivers. Like, he's had those one-on-ones versus Brandon Cooks, who right now would be the top receiver on the team. I just keep seeing him get beat, honestly, though. And I'm not a fan of that. So I'm going to bet on the young blood, Eric Scott Jr., to turn some heads at practice, turn some heads at the preseason, and beat out Nashawn Wright for the job. Because Kalen Carson is a lock. I think he's the only other lock beyond the starters. Like, you've got the 3 starters, and then this year's 5th-round rookie is going to be a lock. Other than that, everything goes. And in this scenario, I've got Eric Scott Jr. making it over Nashawn Wright. I don't think Wright secures the job this year. Safeties, it pains me. It really does pain me. But I got to cut Easy Mukwamu. That leaves us with 4 safeties. Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Juan J. Thomas, and making his comeback at safety, Marquise Bell, which would be fun. That's a loaded group. Some people have wondered, could Dono Wilson lose some playing time because of Juan J. Thomas? And I think the answer might be yeah, right? I think Marquise Bell, they're going to want to find a way to get him on the field because he started basically for most of the season last year at another position, but did a great job at it, excelled in coverage. So I could see the Cowboys trying to find a way to get Marquise Bell in there. This is the safety room for me, though. Izzy Mukwama would have pained me to leave out. But again, it's a numbers game. Got to bring this down to 53. Right now, we are 4 players away, and we are missing the specialists. So you might know what's next. 4, not 3, 4 specialists. Because I refuse to list C.J. Goodwin as a cornerback these days. But you've got Brandon Aubrey, Brian Anger, Trent Zig, and C.J. Goodwin. C.J. Goodwin, every single year, I look at the roster and I'm like, man, if I could cut this guy, it would be so easy to carry that 4th tight end. Or it would be that easy to carry this additional defensive lineman. Or maybe I don't have to cut rookie draft pick Nathan Thomas. But John Fassel loves him some C.J. Goodwin, and they missed him in special teams last year. So you can see why. And it seems like he's healthy, ready to go. Until proven otherwise, I'm done doubting C.J. Goodwin's chances at the 53-man roster. So there's that, man. C.J. Goodwin is on the list for me with the other 3 specialists, kicker, punter, and long snapper. And that gives us 53 Dallas Cowboys for the 2024 NFL season. Now, as I said, injuries are going to come. Bad stuff is going to happen. Some battles are going to be won. But right now, this is what the 53-man roster projection looks like for me. Let me know in the comments, what did you like, what you did not like, and we'll discuss in the comments. And if you want to go check that out again, you can do so at adzsports.com. Look for the Dallas Cowboys, and you'll find all my content on them. Bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one.